What is it you want, Barry? What do you want? You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dying times here.
Come with me if you want to live.
That's it, man. Game over, man. Game over.
The Force will be with you, always.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to 20th Century Geek. I'm your regular host, as always, Scott Weatherly, and we are kicking off Ghostbusters month. We're leading up to Ghostbusters Afterlife, the latest installment, the newest chapter, if you will, in the Ghostbusters saga. And what I'm doing is I'm going to be reviewing all the films with many of my friends, but also I'm going to be talking to some ghost heads out there. I'm going to be picking up on people that have real fandom for this kind of thing. Mostly, I will say, it's going to be guys my age. You're looking at guys in their 40s that saw this when we were kids, but we're starting off with a new generation. I'm being joined by Aiden Chambers, and he gives me faith for the future. He shows me that there is a way forward for this world. Not only is he a Ghostbusters fan, if you check him out on check out below, there'll be a link for his social medias and his Etsy page. You're also an 80s rock fan.
Oh yeah.
You, Aiden, are a star, just straight out from there. So, Aiden, how are you doing? You okay?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. Happy to be here.
Excellent. Yeah, thanks for coming on. So, let's start with the question. Sort of, it's going to sound weird because they say never ask a person their age. But how old are you at the moment?
I'm 14.
You're 14. So, you've been alive for one Ghostbusters film. It does make my knees feel.
Wasn't the best.
Yes, it makes my knees feel creaky to feel that. But let's start with how did you get into Ghostbusters then?
Well, okay, so quarantine happened about a year ago, and my dad had always been wanting me to watch Ghostbusters with him because I'm a big Back to the Future fan, like just a bunch of 80s movies. I just love 80s movies. So one night when we were quarantined, he turned on Ghostbusters, and I started watching it with him, and I liked him. I loved the movie. It was so funny. I mean, first thing I laughed at was Bill Murray saying, "No human being would stack books like this," and that was my favorite. Still is. But I watched that, and then a few months later, we watched Ghostbusters 2. We didn't watch the same night for some reason. I have no idea why, but we watched Ghostbusters 2, and then it just kickstarted. Like about a month later after that, my first Ghostbusters piece of merchandise were the Reebok shoes.
Yes.
And I loved those, and one thing turned into another, and now I've got over 100 pieces in my collection.
Wow. Okay. So that's proper sort of. So those 100 pieces, then what sort of? Cause you're also into the cosplay, aren't you? You've got.
Oh yeah.
The jumpsuit and sort of the pack, and I'm actually looking at a photo of you here. So, is that bought, or have you, because I know a lot of the guys, like, they get well into the detail, don't they? They put all their pack together.
Oh yeah.
Sort of, so are you part of like a cosplay group of these guys?
I'm not. I'd love to be. The guy in the picture with me is actually Steve Vaughan on Twitter. He is the same area as me, and he has a Ghostbusters car. He's an amazing guy. He's amazing. I love to talk to him. But I haven't joined any Ghostbuster groups yet. I'd love to, just anytime, but nope, nothing yet.
Okay, well, you do. You're still young. There's plenty of time to be going out and joining.
Yeah.
But like the pack and stuff, have you got your own pack and trap, or have you borrowed others?
I have my own pack, trap, PK meter, goggles, everything. The pack is the Spirit pack, and I have just modified it like crazily. I mean, it just looks way more screen accurate than how it looks whenever you buy it.
Man, so
and
impressive.
All my other Ghostbuster props were the Walmart Ghost Trap, Spirit Halloween PK meter, and I just modified those to make them look more screen accurate too.
So what sort of thing have you done? When you say modified, just give me a taster of the kind of things that you've done to the pack and to your PK.
I'll repaint them. I put one new light, and I bought Bluetooth speakers for my Proton pack. So now they play like an overheat sequence or the Proton pack startup noise or the theme song. and then I'll sand them down to make them look weathered.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just mostly repainting, just the basic stuff, adding new cyclotron colors, and so they're not. Whenever you buy the Spirit Pack, it's just gray lights. So
Yes.
I just put red over them, and it looks really nice.
No, man, that's really impressive. I'm always impressed with cosplayers because I haven't got the time, if I'm perfectly honest. I'd love to, but when I see guys that have done these things, and you say, like, made it more screen accurate, and I was listening to another podcast the other day. It was a Ghostbusters one, and they were literally talking about the types of wires that appear on part of the proton pack that distinguishes it from 84 to 89. And I'm like, wow, that's really impressive that they've
I
gone
don't
to
know
that
how
level
people
of detail.
notice those details.
Yeah, then they were referring to like screenshot. They take screen grabs and they do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and I know there's people that have already started doing stuff for like Afterlife, for like the one that everyone's going to have it is the trap on the RC.
Oh yeah, I've seen people do that, like groups that are just like a few hours away from my house. Like they have perfect RTV traps, perfect props, and it's just amazing what people have already done.
It's such one of the things I'm impressed with, and you actually I'm going to take your perspective because I'm sort of on the periphery because I love Ghostbusters. It's my favorite film, but I'm not in the whole world. Like, my fandom sort of expands into everything. Obviously, I'm a nostalgia geek. When I see a lot of other fandoms, sort of like comic fandoms, Star Wars or others, there's a level of sort of, as they refer to it, like toxicity, sort of like fan gatekeeping and that sort of thing, sort of like, that's not the way you do it, all that shit. Being sort of like, coming into this very recently and stuff, how have you found sort of the fandom?
I mean, I find everyone who does it like amazing. Like it's one of the Ghostbusters is the only thing that you can, I mean, with Back to the Future, you can dress up as Marty or Doc or Lorraine or anyone like that. But in Ghostbusters, you can have your own franchise out there. You can have your own name badge, like Ghostbuster, like New York City Ghostbusters or Buffalo Ghostbusters. Everybody out there, they have their own patches, their own logos, and like it's just amazing. Like that's one of my favorite things about Ghostbusters is that anybody can be one.
You are so right. I love that. One of the things I love, there's one not too far away from me, actually, the Staffordshire Ghostbusters. And I love the fact that, like, this thing of like they've all got their own patches. The No Ghost logo is so cool. It's so impressive. I'm always it's such a cool idea. And I love the fact that, like, it's Sony that owns it, but like everyone that seems to be involved with Ghostbusters professionally, even the Reitmans and all, like, Dan Aykroyd, they seem to like be well chuffed with all this stuff. Like there's others, but it's such a cool. It seems to be such a cool fandom. Like everyone's so open to it to do their own thing, which is so impressive.
Oh yeah, because people will make their own. I mean, I've seen so many renditions of proton packs out there, like Adam Savage's proton pack. Proton packs would just look totally different from the movie, but still look like proton packs in a weird way.
Yeah, they're just taking it and running with it and all that kind of stuff. And the cars, the amount of Ecto ones and then variants, as you say, the guy that's in the photo, is so awesome. It's so impressive. So the film seemed to be your sort of, you said like you were introduced with 84 and 2 and 89. What about sort of the wider thing? I mean, have you been indoctrinated into sort of like the real Ghostbusters, the extreme Ghostbusters cartoons, or the comics, or the games? The one that was released I know quite a while ago now, but it was on the PS3. But have you got like a wider sort of, have you started on any of that stuff yet?
Yes. Okay. So after Ghostbusters 2, after Ghostbusters 2, I had started to watch the cartoon, the real Ghostbusters, and I fell in love with it because it was just amazing. I mean, they had Laura Summer, Lorenzo Music, just so many great voice actors. I mean, I've seen some episodes of the real or Extreme Ghostbusters, and I never really got into it. But the real Ghostbusters, I love it. It's my my favorite cartoon out there. And I've actually, a while back, probably in May, for a project at my school, I got to interview Laura Summer, the voice of Janine, on there.
Actually, yeah, this is. I'll cut round. How was she?
She was so nice. I messaged her one night and I said, "Hey, I got a school project. I'd love to go out on it. It's my last project of the year. Could I interview you?" And same night she answered, and she said, "Of course." So I interviewed her, and we were just talking about how it was to voice act, what roles she has, just not in the real Ghostbusters. I mean, Garfield, Digimon, just amazing stuff. And she is just so nice.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you are cracking an exclusive here, and that's so cool because she does appear to be really nice. I put a tweet out about the episode Knock Knock is my favorite episode of the real Ghostbusters, and she actually contacted me and said, "Oh, that's cool. Why?" And we just started chatting, and I'm hoping, fingers crossed, if diaries can be aligned, I'm hoping to get her onto the podcast. So, she does seem amazingly open to the fans. And I think this is all part of this fandom, like the Ghostbusters fandom, and the people involved in it.
Oh yeah,
are just so excited about the whole thing.
She's very open. I mean, like Dan Aykroyd and them, they're of course open to it. Like Dan Aykroyd, Ernie Hudson, and Bill, on the other hand, he never really does anything with it.
Yeah, Mr. Murray is a different egg entirely.
Oh yeah.
I think you'll find everybody in Ghostbusters fandom loves him, but very few have probably met him. I think he's a
oh yeah.
But yeah, the dream would be, as you say, to get like Dan Aykroyd or something onto the podcast. Mr. Aykroyd, if you're listening, my DMs are more than open.
Oh yeah, I'm up on here.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, no, it's cool. I love it. I'm loving the fact that, like I say, you've been introduced to this, and again, as we sort of go into this, all this stuff's readily available at the YouTube channel. The Ghostbusters YouTube channel is actually now doing every Saturday. They are releasing an episode of the real Ghostbusters.
That happened. That's when that started in February. I could not believe it. I mean, when they announced it, I already had a whole box set of the whole series on the way to my house because I ordered it the day before, and I was like, that kind of sucks.
Yeah, but it's I tell you what though, because I've got them all. I've got them all digitally through Amazon Prime and stuff. So I've got them sat there. But I ain't gonna lie, every now and then when I'm sort of going through and I'll be like, oh, they've just released so and so, I do go on and I'll watch it on there as well. So, but if you haven't ever seen it, go on to the Ghostbusters YouTube channel. It's easy to find. Check out. Yeah, they've got all the episodes. Not all of them yet, but they've got quite a few on there now. And they're doing a whole load of other stuff as well. What about we are talking obviously OG Ghostbusters, and we'll get round to the new film in a little bit, and some speculation and some tastiness. But there's obviously. Oh, first, before we get to that, comics. Have you ever read the comics, the IDW stuff for Eric Burnham and Schoening have done?
Unfortunately, I have not yet. I have been wanting to order them for so long, but I haven't found any on Amazon that aren't under like $20. They're just so expensive because they're just graphic novels. They're not just one singular comic you can find on there. And every comic shop in my area does not have them.
Yeah, something's happened recently as well. It's very interesting because they're all off Comixology, and I think it's something to do with IDW sort of like pulling to do an IDW only release. Which is weird considering the film's coming out, but yeah, because I've got the hardbacks and I got them when they first came out, and those things are like worth a fortune now, out of print.
Oh yeah,
but yeah, if you do get a chance, I recommend it. There's some, if you can track them down on eBay, get a couple of issues, really worth checking out. Great comic. Let's talk about 2016 because it's a very different beast. And I'm going to start out, but I really enjoy that film. It is very different. It's a very different take, but I actually still kind of like it. I think it's good fun. I think it's silly, but I am curious, sort of like as to get other people's takes on these things. So, have you seen it? And what's your sort of thoughts on it? And
I watched it a while back, probably when like last summer, probably around that time. I just did not want to watch it. I did not feel like it was good. It was taken out of our theaters early because it was not. No one. It was just not good. But when I watched it, I finally gave it a chance, and it was not as bad as I thought it would be. I mean, it was funny. The only part is some scenes they would try to be funny. They tried too hard to be funny in it.
Yeah, it's a very specific humor, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, and I love the designs of their technology. Like in 1984's Ghostbusters, we had a cyclotron and Clippard valves and just everything like that. But in the 2016 one, we didn't have a lot of that. But they made things work. I mean, I love the design of their proton pack and Holtzman, how she represents basically Egon in the movie, or I don't know if she represents him, but she looks exactly like him.
Well, I haven't. I'm taking this as rumor and something I heard, and it's always been in my head. So I'm taking it as fact. There you go, fake news. It's a fact. Apparently, sort of Kate McKinnon, when they were doing it, they said, "Oh yeah, we're going to have these sort of costumes. We're going to do this stuff." She went and got her hair done like that, and then turned up, and they were like, "It's perfect. Let's do it." So yeah,
my gosh,
she's one that sort of did it and brought that to set. So I can imagine that, and it sounds ace. That would be really cool. But yeah, so before we get to any speculation, we're going to take let's call this an advert. This is a sort of like a mini break. You have got your cosplay, and so you've also got an Etsy page, and you've got your badge on there. So do you want to sort of like just tell people where that's at? We'll do it, and then we'll bump it again at the end. But where can people find your Etsy page, and what else is on there?
So just so far, it's my patches. I'm planning on making pins and stickers and possibly T-shirts, but my T-shirts won't be on there. They'll be on TeePublic. But my Etsy is the Diabetic Ghostbuster. You can find it in my Twitter or my Twitter bio. Or you search up Ghostbusters patch, and it's starting to show up like as some of the first searches on Etsy. Yeah. So I love the logo. One night I just was kind of bored and I was doodling and I came up with that. And then the next day I really paid attention to what I was drawing on it, and I outlined it, edited it into an app with a black background on it. And that's how I got that logo right there.
Yeah, no, fantastic. There will be a link because I've already sort of copy and pasted. So there will be a link below. So if you do want to check it out in the notes below. There's a link to Aiden's Etsy page. Go check out the badge. I actually will be ordering one. I've decided now, as you've sort of said about how many different patches there are. Something I'm going to do is I'm going to try and sort of get a couple. I'm going to try and get a few. And there's actually going to be the first UK Ghostbusters convention next year. It was supposed to be 2 years ago, but obviously COVID sort of put the kibosh on that. But it's going to be next year, and I'm going to have to get some badges there as well. So I'm going to get like a towel and start doing stuff. So yours is going to be the first patch that I collect.
Oh, nice.
So I will be doing that, and once I get it, I'll put it on Twitter and show people that what's going on. It's excellent.
I'm collecting patches too. My mom made a really cool idea actually. Get a bunch of patches and then sew them onto a quilt.
That's it. That's what I'm thinking. Like my Ghostbusters quilt, like a Ghostbusters towel or something. Yeah, that's what I want to do.
My favorite patches. I have a Hook and Ladder 8 patch from when my dad went to New York last month.
Nice.
He got to talking with the firefighters, and he looks on the wall, and oh my God, there is so much Ghostbuster franchise patches up on that wall. Just a whole wall of them.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like that's exactly what I'm saying. Like how cool this whole thing is. Like even the firehouse, like the fire department, that still exists in that firehouse. Which is in the film.
Yeah.
Like they are big supporters and proponents of this. Like I think they've got the sign out. They'll still put out the sign every now and then. They've got this other stuff. So so cool, so cool. It's why I love this whole thing. I think it's got such a great fandom. Right, let's round this out then. We've got a new film coming out. We've got Afterlife coming out. It's in November. I'm going to ask a dumb question to begin with, and then we'll speculate. Are you excited for it based on the trailers?
Yes, absolutely. As the night I watched the first Ghostbusters, I watched the trailer. Well, I think I watched the trailer before I even watched Ghostbusters, and I was like, oh, that looks cool. I mean, bringing back just bringing back everybody. My dad was super excited for it, and he still is. But with the most recent trailer, that's got to be my favorite trailer. That's the one that hypes me up the most because you have the original theme song in the new one. You have new clips. You got the mini puffs.
Yeah, those mini puffs. I wasn't sure about when I first saw those because it's sort of. I was like, is this going to be a bit too silly? Is it going to be a bit too commercial?
Yeah.
But now, having seen them in a couple of things now, I'm like, actually, no, they're actually like, they're sort of tickling my fancy. I'm kind of impressed. I'm kind of liking them. They got that like a Gremlins feel.
Oh yeah.
Which I'm kind of digging now. So I'm looking forward to seeing those. But yeah, I mean, this latest trailer, sort of like, the last one that came out was like an international trailer or whatever, sort of opens. It's sort of like the bit at the beginning that had there's a guy in a truck running across the field. I'm like, okay, is that Egon? I'm assuming that it is like an older Egon. And so you've got hints of that. You've had Aykroyd appear at the end, or just his hands and his voice, to be fair, appear at the end of the other trailer. So, yeah, I'm very excited about it. So that it's hitting all those notes. Any speculation? I mean, what are your thoughts then? Sort of, if you had any thoughts, what are your speculations and sort of ideas for what this film's going to bring?
I'm just hoping that I'm hoping that it's a huge dedication to Egon. I know that, huge dedication to Harold Ramis. I hope that they kind of like more of its own story than bringing back like way more Easter eggs. And I will love to see Easter eggs, just not as much as like that it'll fill up the whole movie.
There will be Easter eggs. I mean, there's clearly going to be like that nostalgia thing. You're right, but and one of the things it just sort of struck me actually, sort of like there's my generation and like say your dad's generation. I assume that sort of we are the same generation. We're going like, oh yeah, cool. I want to see the guys that that we were introduced to in '84, and obviously they're not, they're all knocking on a bit. They can't do all the stuff they would have done back then. So you need this next generation to come through. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they introduce that. But then there is that sort of thing of guys like yourself, and this is actually an interesting point. You've obviously got like Finn Wolfhard in there, McKenna Grace. There's this new generation. Like, I'm assuming, I'm going to make a guess. Have you seen Stranger Things?
I've watched the first 2 seasons. My friend, he loves Stranger Things, and when he comes over, we sit down and watch it all night. And we got through the first 2 seasons, and when I saw Finn Wolfhard dressed as a Ghostbuster, I was like, wait, hold on.
Yeah.
He's literally in the new movie, so
yeah, there you go. Life imitating art. Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on having them? Because they're sort of supposed to be kids, older teenagers, sort of thing. Because I do know that there are people of my age that are a bit like, fucking kids are in it. Doesn't bother me. But does it appeal to you because it is kids as entry points? Not kids, that sounds really patronizing, I apologize. But kids like younger people, rather than going straight for sort of like, middle-aged men.
Yeah, I love the idea of kids. I mean, especially that it's Egon's grandkids. That's my favorite part about it, because looks like from the first trailer how she comes down the fire pole and she's looking around whatever she's in, probably his lab, and she pulls out the PKE meter, and it looks awesome because McKenna Grace, she does, or from what it looks like so far, a perfect representation of, she looks like a little Egon Spengler, so she looks like.
Yes.
So I think it's really cool. I mean, Finn Wolfhard driving the X01, that'd be like me driving an X01, how he's flipping out over it. And from the trailers, he looks like a gearhead. It just looks amazing. Like, I love the idea of having kids in it.
Yeah, no, I do too. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's going to introduce a whole new angle. And, we've still got like Paul Rudd, and we are obviously going to get the guys back as well. So, enough for both, I think. And all the ties, it's going to be about Shandor. It's going to be about, Zul. So I'm interested to see how that all plays out. But very excited. So I'm glad. That's good to hear. As someone of your age actually, is connecting with the kid characters, because that's important. It'll continue this for another generation. It'll get, hopefully in 20, 30 years, you can be showing it to your kids, and the ghost heads continue for many, many years to come. Aiden, I'm gonna sort of round it out there, but let's just sort of as a shout out to anyone you want to give a shout out to on the podcast, any of the ghost heads, anyone near you, you want to let know, about anything you want to give a pop to.
Definitely just about 4 people. I'd love to give a shout out to Laura Summer. Obviously, she's my first person I ever interviewed or done anything with that. Kind of kickstarted that. Ghostbusters News. He followed me on Twitter a while back. I love watching his videos. I was recently on one of his videos for my patch. And Stephen Vaughn, Vaughan, I call him Vaughn, I don't know why. He was very close to me. And he actually gave me a visit on my birthday in his car. I want to give a shout out to him because he made me like, it's hard to explain, more of a ghost head, definitely. I mean, that
Yeah.
He made me just give a whole different perspective of the film, like how many people can dress up in flight suits and walk around like that. He's just an amazing guy. Stephen Vaughan over on Twitter. And my dad, because he's the one who started all of this.
Raising you right, that's what he's doing, mate. He's raising you right. He's introducing you to first Back to the Future, 80s rock, Ghostbusters. I kind of like your dad. He sounds like a good guy. No, that's fantastic. And yes, this is what I'm saying. This has actually been a really cool intro into this month of Ghostbusters. I'm a massive fan. It's so cool to speak to other ghost heads, and it's also been so cool to speak to someone who's just starting their ghost head journey. And also, although you are ahead of me on the cosplay stuff, which is so amazing. So, dude, it's been so cool to talk to you. And as I say again, check out Aiden on social media. You are what are you at?
The Diabetic Ghostbuster over on Twitter, and that's the only social media of now that I have for myself.
Okay, and then obviously there'll be a link to both that and the Etsy page down below, ladies and gentlemen. And go check it out because it's help Aiden on his journey. Go buy those so we can buy more wires and things so we can be making more screen accurate cosplay.
Make
costumes.
real proton packs to catch real ghosts.
That's it. Yes, that's what we all want to be doing. Actually, there you go. There's a final question. In fact, that's something I'm going to be asking as a final question to all the people. Do you believe in ghosts?
100%. I definitely believe in ghosts. I've had one ghost encounter. I was in my room one night and I was facing the other way trying to sleep, and I heard footsteps on my carpet. It was really scary. I still think it was footsteps. My parents or my mom at least, has tried to get me to think no, it wasn't, but I definitely think it was. And I live around some haunted places. Like there's this place near me called the Spook Light, and it's really scary. It's just a light out in the middle of nowhere that no one has ever figured out what it is. But yes, I would love to be a ghost investigator. I watch Ghost Adventures, everything like that. So yes, definitely, I definitely believe in ghosts.
Excellent. Yes. Well, that's there you go. You're on your path to becoming a real Ghostbuster. Aiden, thank you very much for coming on 20th Century Geek. I really appreciate it, and I shall put all this on the socials when it goes out. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening as well. This has been great. We are starting our ghost journey for this month. As I say, we've been talking to some ghost heads. There are more people to talk to. But more than that, we're going to be talking about the films and the comics and the Ghostbuster cartoons, all the kind of Shazam leading up to a weekend of release review of Ghostbusters Afterlife. And if you like what we're doing, go find us on your podcast catcher. We're on Amazon, Spotify, iTunes, all the usual ones. I'm even on Audible, which is awesome. I'm up there with some of those books. Go check us out. Leave a review, preferably a 5-star review if you really like us. And if you really dig in what we're doing, check us out on Patreon. We're on www.patreon.com/20cg media. A whole bunch of stuff on there. There's probably about over 100 other podcasts on there now. We've put all things on there, weekly, monthly, and quarterly. Go check it out. Links below the podcast. Aiden, once again, thank you so much for coming on. It's been an absolute
thanks for having me.
Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, I'll speak to you again soon.